Okay, so we're going to look at a phenomena that has occurred recently on a database whereby transactions appear to have doubled up on the database. Now, it happened that these transactions they came from a recurring journal, so we're just going to set up a similar type of transaction here. So I'm just going to leave it at today's date. I'm going to enter the posting as 12, number of postings per period as 1, and I've created some test database for some test transactions in this nominal account, so I'll just make the value 5,000. And that's a balancing transaction, and we'll batch that. And let's have a look at that transaction in the batch then. Okay, so we can ignore the first one, we'll just kind of focus on this second one for a moment. So the next posting date for the transaction is the 4th of December. We enter the transaction, and once we have entered it once, we see it's posted 1 of 10 times. Next one is the 4th of January, we do it again, and it works fine. So I've been experimenting to see if I can make this transaction double up on itself. So I tried to force it to go back into the relevant period. So in our context, if we just look at the periods to which the transactions are currently posted. So it's going into period 8 for December and 9 for January. So let's just try and see if we can put another transaction into December in period 8. So pick the transaction and we'll isolate and put it to period 8. So it says period 8. And if I leave the date at 4th of February, we get a warning message telling us this is the second journal to be entered in this period, even though we're only expecting to see one. And it should have allowed us to do that, and it did. But when we view the transactions, they all appear. So what I want to see now is whether it's possible to force a second transaction into this date, or into this individual transaction here. So I'm going to go back to my batch. So make a note of the date and the period. So February, period 8. And we'll put this transaction, we'll set it back to the 4th of February. And we'll also set it back into current year period 8. Get our warning message again, so we'll just go with that. Okay, and there we are. We've managed to force a second transaction to go in, more or less superimposing itself into the first transaction. But we had to alter both the date of the transaction and the period to which it was posted. That's the only way that I can see to repeat the issue that we found this morning. Hope that helps.